But that lady, that new press secretary, she's a
That
gangster.
video, dude.
She's a gangster. They're prepared. And you know why they're prepared? Because they're trying to play gotcha.
Yep.
So she played gotcha with them. She checkmated them.
She came in there with that fucking Elon Musk flamethrower.
Play that video.
Watching this clip, I couldn't help but think how ironic that Whoopi Goldberg and Joy Behar and the rest of the ladies on The View spend their time calling Republicans the conspiracy theorists. But they have been wrong about everything they have said over the last couple of...
Well, grab your popcorn and buckle your seatbelt. Karoline Leavitt just launched a $500 million legal cruise missile straight into the heart of The View. And no, that's not a typo. $500 million. Apparently, the cost of character assassination comes with a receipt now, and Karoline just filed it in federal court. The champagne-sipping echo chamber of daytime television didn't see this one coming, and now they're reacting like someone spiked their kale smoothies with
I would like this young lady this is her first job, I would like her to do a little homework. Because she said something yesterday that really pissed me off. And that was, she said there will be no wokeness here.
Oh, yeah.
Let me explain something to you. Because without that wokeness, you might not have that job.
I think clarify, she's probably been put in there because according to Donald Trump, she's a 10. You know that's what it is.
It isn't just clapping back, she's storming the castle with a legal army. This isn't a tantrum. It's a calculated takedown of a media juggernaut that's turned outrage into a brand. For years, The View has dished it out like a buffet of smugness, assuming no one would ever dare send the bill. But Karoline, she came with itemized damages, legal counsel, and the guts to challenge the unsinkable ship of televised sanctimony. She's not just taking names, she's writing them in subpoenas.
Absolutely not. Let me be unequivocally clear about that. And watching this clip, I couldn't help but think how ironic that Whoopi Goldberg and Joy Behar and the rest of the ladies on The View spend their time calling Republicans the conspiracy theorists. But they have been wrong about everything they have said over the last couple of years. They likened President Trump to Hitler. They have mocked him. They have shamed him. They have lied about him consistently on their show. And it was a joy to watch them on November the 6th when they realized that tens of millions of Americans do not listen to the lies have spewed. These women are completely out of touch with reality. And you're right, ABC.
Joe Rogan, cultural gladiator, podcast emperor, and patron saint of saying the quiet part out loud. From his leather chair in the kingdom of long-form sanity, he watched the media maelstrom swirl and called it for what it was. Another legacy media hit job. His response: classic Rogan, a raised eyebrow, a skeptical laugh, and a monologue sharp enough to shave with. He didn't need a panel or a teleprompter, just a mic, a pulse, and a frontal lobe not dulled by GROUPTHINK.
That lady, that new press secretary, she's a
That
gangster.
video, dude.
She's a gangster. Have you seen that video?
You've never
too?
seen someone more prepared for a question in your life, Jamie.
Have you seen that? You know what I'm talking about?
Small point on that, not the big point, but small point. She was so prepared.
Yes.
That's what I'm saying.
Well, she's supposed to be prepared.
That's why I
Jamie.
said you've never seen someone
You know
more
why?
prepared.
For that. They're
that's
prepared.
While the View gang sipped their coffee and labeled Leavitt dangerous with all the depth of a horoscope, Rogan dropped the kind of clarity that cuts through cable static. He didn't see a lawsuit, he saw a line in the sand. You don't get to wreck someone's reputation because your ratings need CPR, he quipped. Somewhere between kettlebell swings and mushroom tea. For Rogan, this wasn't legal drama, was accountability in a world allergic to it.
You heard that type of violent, enticing rhetoric from our side of the aisle, from Republican leaders on Capitol Hill, I think there would be a lot more outrage in this room today. It's unacceptable, the comments that have been made by these Democrat leaders, and frankly, they don't even know what they're talking about.
Voice of what kicked off this firestorm, a segment where The View's usual suspects, Joy Behar, Whoopi Goldberg, Sunny Hostin, and a revolving door of forgettable guest host, stirred Leavitt into political roadkill. Not questioned, not debated, smeared. Behar forever confusing, volume with insight, declared Leavitt dangerous, apparently for the crime of being young, conservative, and coherent. Meanwhile, Whoopi dispensed her usual brand of celestial nonsense. And Sunny Hostin played TV lawyer with all the credibility of a BuzzFeed list, ICLE.
So Joy Behar went after Joe Rogan on The View, and he fired back spectacularly.
You're worried about losing your job, and you're worried about podcasts taking over, and who's the source of news, and we said Donald Trump was Hitler, but half the country disagreed with us, and he won, and this is and Joe Rogan believes in draft.
Karoline didn't flinch. She didn't cry foul on social media or issue. a mealy-mouthed statement through a spokesperson. She sued hard. And Rogan, he recognized it instantly. A seismic moment where someone finally fought fire with fire. The View, the sanctum of smug liberalism, was being called out by someone with both backbone and a legal filing cabinet. Rogan framed it as poetic justice. The show that drowns opposing views in mockery was now gasping for air in its own hypocrisy.
And you know why they're prepared? Because they're trying to play gotcha.
Yep.
So she played gotcha with them. She checkmated them.
She came in there with that fucking Elon Musk flamethrower.
Play that video.
Leavitt's legal team probably debated whether Comic Sans was too subtle. Rogan howled with glee. This wasn't just a lawsuit, it was content gold. Shakespeare with subpoenas. Reality TV with consequences. Karoline wasn't playing victim. She was playing offense. Rogan, ever the outsider, praised the audacity. If The View wanted to keep tossing grenades, someone had finally tossed one back and it exploded in syndication.
Ask people, even in the legacy media, even the Trump haters, they will tell you the approach has been much different. Not just for me, but the entire White House. Oh, absolutely. They come in my office every day and they'll admit that off the record. Yeah. Maybe not on the record, but they will say they appreciate the access and the transparency and the preparation that goes into my briefings, and everybody on our team, by the way, who goes out to the...
Rogan went nuclear. In his now-trademark comedic wrath, he torched The View as the menopausal Met Gala of bad takes, a place where facts are optional, emotions are weapons, and any dissent is treated like a hate crime. He mocked their performative courage, their weaponized tears, and their delusion that their platform equals moral superiority. It's mean girls with microphones, he sneered. And the audience roared. He didn't just support Karoline, he practically gave her the legal equivalent of a protein shake and said, "Go get 'em."
Very strange show, but it's fun to watch. It's just fun to watch them.
It's good entertainment.
Yeah.
Undoubtedly.
Well, they're just, it's interesting because I think Sunny's very intelligent, but she's ideologically captured.
Right.
It's sort of. I think the other ones, there's a couple of the other ones, don't have to name any names, are just very dull-minded. But I think Sunny's not one of them. I think she's smart.
Rogan, this was just the latest battle in a war The View declared long ago against DeSantis. Trump voters, red hats, and anyone not invited to their progressive wine and cheese echo chamber. Every guest not pre-approved gets the gladiator treatment, while Joy Behar sobs into her affirmations. But Leavitt didn't grovel. She lawyered up. And Rogan, always the contrarian crowd favorite, called it the cultural clapback of the decade. This wasn't a courtroom drama, was cable karma.
People want us divided, and they aren't just here in this country. They're foreign adversaries who are infiltrating our social media because it is prudent for us to stay that way. So when you see something that really pisses you off, you should triple check that one.
Yes. But I think that's why people like our show, because they know that we are checked by ABC News. But
We're checked by everybody.
Yeah, I mean, if we're wrong, we have, the legal note here.
The human legal.
But we went from Walter Cronkite, basically, to this guy Joe Rogan, who believes in dragons. I checked it. He believes in dragons. He believes in dragons.
Did you triple source that?
Yes.
Lawsuit wasn't about winning in court, it was about winning the narrative. And Leavitt's already halfway there. Rogan understood the move. Dominate the news cycle, make the lawsuit louder than the smear, and turn media outrage into campaign fuel. The View wanted a punching bag. Instead, they got a legal uppercut. Karoline traded victimhood for headlines, pity for power, and Rogan knew exactly what she was doing. This isn't a meltdown, he said. It's marketing.
This is the show that people love to hate.
Yes, that's true.
They get so much hate watching and hate watching viral clips of them saying ridiculous things. I mean, it is a rabies-infested henhouse.
View remains unsure whether it's a news show or a therapy circle for Twitter addicts. 1 minute they're pushing legislation, the next they're pushing essential oils. Rogan's watching it all, like a nature documentary, bemused, detached, and ready to monetize the madness. While Karoline rebrands as the phoenix of defamation lawsuits, The View flails like it's auditioning for a reboot of Desperate Housewives. The talk show years. Rogan's not mad, she sued, he's mad, she didn't do it sooner. Next voice, because, let's be honest, this isn't civil discourse. It's gladiator games for clout. Everyone's in it for the clicks, the hashtags, and their 15 seconds of moral superiority. Karoline saw the game and flipped the board. Suing The View wasn't petty, it was strategic. And Rogan, media disruptor-in-chief, cheered her on, with a DMT reference and a side of elk meat. In today's political media circus, lawsuits are the new TED Talks. Karoline's playing chess. Everyone else is playing improv. Next.
Yes. Yes.
And that's their audience.
Yes. Well, their audience is not really their audience. Their audience is a group of people they bring in to watch television shows. You know, I don't know if you've ever seen audiences before for TV shows, but a lot of them are paid. They're paid to be there. So, because they have to guarantee that there's going to be people there. So there's services that you hire. And when the show gets really, really popular, you know, like Letterman or something like that, obviously it has its own fan base.
Right.
Those people will try to get tickets before anybody else does. And in that case, they probably don't need to use a service anymore. They just get actual fans. But arguably, like, the fans, the real fans of The View that are like, oh, these ladies are on point. Most of those people can't leave the house. They're probably immobile.
Right.
Isn't democracy its performance art with a legal budget? The View cloaks itself in diversity but recoils from any idea that makes them feel unsafe. Karoline challenged the echo chamber and became a lightning rod. But Rogan, he just laughed. While they spun themselves into outrage knots, he turned the entire fiasco into Spotify gold. Karoline may win or lose the case, but she's already won the storyline. And Rogan, he's the bard of the absurd, the king of the chaos, and the only one honest enough to say it. If The View wanted drama, Karoline just gave them a courtroom opera, and Rogan's already sold the soundtrack.
Whoopi Goldberg's, like, did you see what she did to that Staten Island bakery?
Yeah.
No.
Crazy.
What?
So
She ate
Staten Island
everything.
Bakery, their boiler went down, and she placed an order of cupcakes for her birthday. And they couldn't do
Hold
the order.
on. I can't imagine yet how this would go bad. Okay, go ahead.
So she places this order. They say, we can't promise you that we can do this because our boiler is down. So we can't fulfill this order. And so then the next day, the boiler is back up. She has someone else call the same bakery, and they get the order in because now the boiler's up. She claims the reason why they didn't take her order is because they didn't like her politics. And so she says this on The View. So then the bakery has a press conference where they say, we've been in business for 150 years. This is not what happened at all. We don't discriminate against anybody regardless of anything. We just had a problem with our boiler. And she's singling out a family-run business. And then there's a line around the block for the bakery.
View remains unsure whether it's a news show or a therapy circle for Twitter addicts. 1 minute they're pushing legislation, the next they're pushing essential oils. Rogan's watching it all, like a nature documentary, bemused, detached, and ready to monetize the madness. While Karoline rebrands as the phoenix of defamation lawsuits, The View flails like it's auditioning for a reboot of Desperate Housewives. The talk show years. Rogan's not mad, she sued, he's mad, she didn't do it sooner. Next voice, because, let's be honest, this isn't civil discourse. It's gladiator games for clout. Everyone's in it for the clicks, the hashtags, and their 15 seconds of moral superiority. Karoline saw the game and flipped the board. Suing The View wasn't petty, it was strategic. And Rogan, media disruptor-in-chief, cheered her on, with a DMT reference and a side of elk meat. In today's political media circus, lawsuits are the new TED Talks. Karoline's playing chess. Everyone else is playing improv. Next.
But that lady, that new press secretary, she's a
That
gangster.
video, dude.
She's a gangster. They're prepared. And you know why they're prepared? Because they're trying to play gotcha.
Yep.
So she played gotcha with them. She checkmated them.
She came in there with that fucking Elon Musk flamethrower.
Play that video.
Rogan. This was just the latest battle in a war The View declared long ago against DeSantis. Trump voters, red hats, and anyone not invited to their progressive wine and cheese echo chamber. Every guest not pre-approved gets the gladiator treatment, while Joy Behar sobs into her affirmations. But Leavitt didn't grovel. She lawyered up. And Rogan, always the contrarian crowd favorite, called it the cultural clapback of the decade. This wasn't a courtroom drama, it was cable